show host school, this is the day you dream about. We are on Get Up. We are live from the Seaport. We're brought to you by Chase. Wendy was in the Garden last night. Jay, Will, and Legs are here all morning long. And the drama, the controversy, the madness at Madison Square takes center stage. Oh, what a finish to this one. Jalen Brunson was brilliant for the Knicks. Tyrese Halliburton, not so much for the Pacers. Let me show you a couple of spectacular moments. Legs, how about Obi Toppin right here?
We've seen him miss this one earlier in the year. Talk about nerve in a playoff game on a breakaway, but Obi Toppin's got that kind of pop.
Yeah, the former Knick, who heard the boos all night long. And then, Jay, Will, how about this one from Neesmith over Mitchell Robinson?
This is where Indiana kept attacking those gaps, and Neesmith with a strong finish over Robinson got bumped on that play as well.
But now let's go to the fabulous finish. 4 minutes left. The Knicks are down by 5. Brunson was unbelievable last night. It's a 2-point game. 3 minutes left. Halliburton, bad pass. OG Anunoby the other way.
Just a strong finish. I mean, look, this is what New York lets do. Starberry, stand up.
Next Knicks possession, Brunson. Goodness, he was spectacular. Knicks a 4-point lead. Brunson had 43. 2 minutes left. Knicks are up by 2. Josh Hart, the turnover. We're going the other way. It's going to be Pascal Siakam and Legs. The game is tied.
It is one of the few times that someone else initiated offense and they turned the ball over.
Next Pacer possession. It's Nembhard.
Big finish.
Pacers are up by 2. Knicks ball now. Same score. Brunson. Spin move.
Just kept knocking Nembhard off the spot.
And Nembhard didn't get vertical again to contest that shot.
Here's the controversy now. DiVincenzo, no call on the screen, but there is a call for a kick, and we'll look at it again. The ball is clearly not kicked by Neesmith. It is not a reviewable play, so it's a bad call, and it's a big deal because it leads to this.
Brunson with the ball in his hands. Sitting on 40. Kicks it, DiVincenzo, three-pointer. Down it goes! Dante DiVincenzo puts the Knicks up 3.
Brian Anderson the call on TNT, so it's a 3-point game. Now 15 seconds left after you see that one again. Pacers are down by 1. Here's the moment they're going to talk about forever. Miles Turner. They call that an offensive foul. The 2 players at my desk just literally both collapsed in dismay. This is how the end of the game takes place. The Pacers never get a chance to take a shot that might have won it. Again, down by 1 with 15 seconds left. That's the call at the finish. Knicks take game 1. Rick Carlisle after.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the officiating. We're not expecting to get calls in here. You know, it'd be nice if they laid off that one, but they didn't. So, you know, that's just the way it goes.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack here, folks. So, Wendy, you were there last night. We'll get to you in a minute. But, Legs, I want to start with you. I mean, that call, that specific call, the offensive screen there in that moment of the game, your reaction?
I thought it was one of the worst illegal screen calls I've ever seen. In literally 10 years in the league, 23 years doing this and breaking down playoff games every single postseason. We talk about the moment in the spot. Yeah, obviously, this is potentially a game-winning opportunity for the Pacers. But that aside, just the actual mechanics of the screen and how little contact there really is, to the extent that DiVincenzo sold that. I can't believe he actually took that risk to try to sell out to that extent because of what you were exposing yourself to if that's not called. Miles Turner's either got a wide open slip or a wide open 3. They're playing 5-on-4 for a second while DiVincenzo tries to get back to his feet with the game on the line. That is a pretty risky move on DiVincenzo's part, but give him credit because it paid off. They bought it.
Indiana got robbed. We got robbed of one of the best moments and one of the most exciting games that we've seen throughout the playoffs last night. That's the reality. I mean, that screen happens so many times throughout the course of a game. And as Legs brought up in hour 1, the screen literally prior to the possession before that, DiVincenzo has both arms up. It is moving. And they didn't call that a moving screen, but they called Miles Turner at that critical possession of the game a moving screen. It makes no sense. Yeah. I think it was an embarrassment for the league.
Will and Eric, if we could get that one, because I think it does factor into this. Within the final minute of that game, on the play that is the kick ball that wasn't is called, and that's not reviewable. You'll see it again from a different angle. DiVincenzo sets a screen that is illegal in so many more ways. So you're not getting it on this angle here, but you will get it on the next one that we show. Watch him here.
Look at that, and he's moving.
I mean, there's like 3 different illegal things he does on that play. And both of these things, both those plays took place in the final minute of regulation of this game. And you see which one was called and wasn't. And again, on this play, we're focusing in because they call a kick ball on that, which clearly isn't. That's not reviewable. That's just unfortunate. That's an honest mistake.
Right.
But the judgment to call one of those and not call the other is very tough to take.
I just want to say, Greeny, that referees are there to facilitate the game. But unless it's egregious coming down the stretch, let the players determine the outcome. That's all you ask for from a player perspective.
So, Wendy, you were there. And again, covering the series for us from both sides. You were in the Pacer locker room. You were there for all the post-game press conferences. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so the Pacers took a while to come out and talk after this game. And I'm sitting there wondering how they're going to play it. Rick Carlo comes out and plays it very cool. He purposely didn't want to do it. He took some time after the game, reviewed the last 4 minutes of tape before coming in. Miles Turner, who that foul was on, came in right after him, also took the high road, said that in the locker room after the game, he told his teammates basically to take the high road. They play it this way. Remember, in the last series, Game 2, Philadelphia is losing its mind over some calls at the end of the game. They go crazy. They're talking about filing grievances with the league. The Pacers go a different direction here. When the 2-minute report comes out later today, I do believe this will be ruled a correct call. And also, remember, the Pacers did have a challenge and a timeout. They challenged it. They went across the river to Secaucus. In Secaucus, they agreed with the call. And the important thing, and it's not going to make anybody feel better, they're not calling that a moving screen.
It's fair. And it is going to be upheld because, again, it is probably the right call to make in the first quarter of a game in January. I'm sorry, with 15 seconds left in game 1 of round 2 between these two teams that's that close, it is a very tough call to take. And one of the standards, not that it should be, but it is a reasonable one. If that call isn't made, the Knicks don't complain about it for 1 second, and Tom Thibodeau chews out DiVincenzo for trying to sell that in a moment that he should have been playing.
Yeah, because potentially they get a clean look right there to win the game. And here's, I always take myself immediately into that player's mindset when I watch that happen, and I'm thinking to myself, there's no way that I'm upset that that's not called. Nobody on my team is, the coaching staff isn't. You're not expecting that to be called.
I don't think the Knicks fans would be.
Nobody in the building will be, and today they won't be talking about it. Oh, if they just had called the moving screen on Miles Turner, they wouldn't be saying it. That's how bad this was. If something was injected into this game that absolutely would have had no bearing, really, on the outcome other than DiVincenzo taking that tact in that moment, which is incredibly risky.
Lex, knowing Villanova basketball and the way those 3 played, if that had led to a bucket scored by Indiana, do you know how pissed off Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart would have been in that locker room? Like, why are you doing that at that moment? Just like you're going to tell your player, stay strong, stay firm, stay on your feet.
DiVincenzo won the last minute of the game. He sets the screen that's illegal, gets away with it, sells the screen, and hits the game-winning three-pointer.
I hear you.
And so let's not, look, there's no way to avoid that. That's the story of the game. It just is. No one wants it to be, but it is. And I'll say it again because new audience joins us all the time. Players have bad nights. Coaches have bad nights. We believe the officials had a bad night. They didn't mean to do it. They're human beings, but it is an enormous part of the story of the game. Period. New paragraph. Jalen Brunson is ridiculous. Can we put up the 2 full screens on the postseason that Jalen Brunson is having, Will, when you have a minute? Because he is doing things. Look at the company that he is in. Most consecutive games with 40 points. He's got 4 of them in a row. Michael Jordan was the last player to do that. Bernard King did it. Only Jerry West.
By the way, the 5th game, he scored 39.
Yeah, that's right. He had 39 in the game before this streak started. You're exactly right. And that brings us to the next one. The company that he keeps is all by himself. This is a comprehensive list of all the players who have had 40 points and 5 assists in 4 straight playoff games. It is Jalen Brunson, and that's the end of the list. So you really can't overstate the postseason, Jay Will, that this young man is having.
That's why I said yesterday it feels very AI-like, Allen Iverson, with the amount of time the ball is in his hands to make critical plays. The starters had 118 of the team's 121 points. They got 3 points off the bench. Like, that's how pivotal all 43 of those points were in this ball game by Jalen Brunson.
You can't say enough about how this guy is making shot after shot and moment after moment that they have to have. He's the only one that generates offense. Julius Randle's the other guy that's their offensive creator. We haven't seen him in the postseason. I mentioned earlier, you saw the possession when Josh Hart turned the ball over. They finally took the ball out of Brunson's hands, denied him back. Then Josh Hart tried to make a play off the dribble and throws it away. Let's see what Indiana decides to do going forward with risking a little bit more, maybe even giving up some open looks from the 3-point line to make sure that Jalen Brunson isn't operating in this space where he is basically getting to do exactly what he wants and getting to whatever spot he dictates.
So let me point something out for the purposes of those of you perhaps on ESPN Bet who are interested in prop bets and things like that. You were telling us this morning, covering the series, that this morning the Pacers, when they get to work, are not going to be as worried about Brunson's 43 as they are about the 49 that Hart and DiVincenzo had combined. That perhaps we should be expecting Brunson to keep putting up these huge numbers because the Pacers are going to try and take the other two guys away.
And talking to Carlisle and the Pacers players after the game, I don't think that they think they can totally stop Jalen Brunson. What they don't want is to put him on the foul line 14 times, which whether it was 14 of 14, 8 of 8 in the fourth quarter. They don't want those fouls. They don't want those other two numbers from those guys being so efficient. I don't think they can stop Brunson from getting to the basket. I think we're going to see more 40-point games in this series.
The only thing missing from that last graphic they just put up there is Chris Jenkins' game winner. That's the only thing. That's the only thing missing from last night's game.
Villanova. For those of you who don't know, that's Villanova when they won the national championship with those guys.
Brian Arcidiacono with the drop-off, bang. Who, by the way, Arcidiacono was on this team earlier. He was part of the trade that sent him out of town for Bogdanovich. Arcidiacono left town, or else there'll be another Villanova guy on this team.
Yeah, the Villanova guys are a huge part of the story. It was a huge part of when they were in Philadelphia. So obviously advantage Knicks, but all they do is hold, serve in game one. Game two tomorrow night. Very quickly, we'll have time to look ahead to it. Game two, what do you expect?
I think you're going to see some matchup changes. I think you'll see Nesmith with a higher dose on Brunson. Not saying that you're going to stop him, but you got to make him less efficient, and you have to stay home on those shooters from the perimeter.
All right, Windy will be at practice today. I know that because he turned down golf with me because he has to be there at 2 o'clock. So you'll get all the insight for us.
NBA,